Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Restaurant Technology Guys. I'm Gary Stotko, sitting here with Jeremy Julian. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Gary.
And sitting with Ryan Williams. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you guys for joining us today. Our focus, NRA. We were back in Chicago last week, and kind of wanted to cover with you guys real quickly why NRA is such a big show. Why is it so important? As you see on the screen with the bullets, it's been around for years and years and years. Second largest in the world, second to NRF?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, for our space, for sure.
1,800 to 2,000 different exhibitors, 60+ thousand attendees. It was pretty packed this year. Over the last handful of years, trade shows are really finding their footing again, and this was yet another example that participation in trade shows can be valuable for the consumer groups. So some greater activity, 80+ educational sessions, new product announcements, and boy, the reason we were there was twofold. One, should we be there as a exhibitor, and secondly, for the Restaurant Technology Guys, just to gather information for you folks so we could share it and stay on the front lines, keep you on the front lines of what's going on in the industry. The best of technology that we could find, Jeremy, what we saw at Positouch.
Yeah, so just for clarity, we're not going to talk this morning just about kind of overall what the theme of the show was, but more what we found that we think that our audience would find value out of, because there was some really cool stuff that we saw. Within the Positouch booth, I know a lot of the attendees that show up to these meetings are Positouch users because they're CBS customers. And so some of the things that Positouch was showing that were really, really cool, the Positouch portal, it's a great product that they rolled out, and I think we talked a little bit about it in our Positouch recap from our visit in Rhode Island, but it's gotten a lot more footing. It's really a ability to get Positouch data real time up to the cloud, and so to be able to look at your data from a mobile platform, iPhone, Android phone, iPad, be able to look at your sales and labor data, not to do any analytics, not to do anything super significant, but to at least be able to just get kind of flash data on the fly to a mobile device so you can do something with it.
Yeah, no comparisons, no year-over-year, week-over-week, year-over-year comparisons, but definitely just a very straightforward sales and or labor.
Yep. Yeah, and quick and easy. So that was probably the highlight of the Positouch booth. They talked about some of their other solutions, gift, loyalty. It's something that we'll talk a little bit more later in the presentation about just gift and loyalty being a topic that a lot of people were interested in, and I think have been for a long time. But I think now that people are able to spend a little bit more money, they're able to look at how do we drive some more traffic. And again, we brought you guys some relevant information from Patronics a while back with Eddie Ayala, and so something that's always on our mind is how do we deliver gift and loyalty, but Positouch is integrated with other providers related to gift and loyalty, as well as just their own offering, and so they've got a slimmed down offering that's kind of branded as Positouch that can give you some gift and loyalty stuff.
Yeah, very much Patronics light.
Sorry. And we sat and talked with the guys from Positouch for a little bit, and they had a lot of traffic coming through their booth, and so that means that people are going to these shows seeking out new technology and just trying to stay abreast of what's going on in the industry, specifically in point of sale. And I also want to mention, if you guys have any questions or any comments about anything that we cover, feel free to go ahead and just jot it down in the box and hit enter, and we'll try to get to them as we move along through our show.
Yeah, and if there's something that's relevant to the topics we're talking about now, we'll try and answer them as we go, and if not, then we'll try and hit them towards the end.
The other item that we saw there was Positouch Reserve, which is, again, of all these products, it seems over the last 8 to 10 months, they're starting to get some traction out there. Yeah,
very much so. Positouch Reserve, for lack of a better term, is a competitor to OpenTable, and so a lot of restaurant customers have been less than pleased with their relationship with OpenTable. They come to us and talk to us about it all the time, and so Positouch has developed a product to integrate reservations, online reservations, and get away from OpenTable, be able to broadcast on your own website and do some of those things. So again, integrated reservations and table seating to compete with OpenTable straight into the Positouch system.
Yeah, and quite frankly, if you're ending a contract or have just finished a contract with OpenTable, this is a product that you got to take a look at. It's got some components integrated into it as far as marketing capabilities are concerned, both with email marketing and social media that are worthy of your guys' consideration.
Yep, no, for sure. The last thing that Positouch showed that I would say is one of the overriding themes of the show was how do we get to mobile? One of the strengths that Positouch has always had is it's had a native client for tablets in a Windows tablet world. It's had a native client for a lot of years, and so with that, Positouch was getting asked, and they had no less than 6 different tablets, all of which I believe we previewed on our tablet POS show. Maybe one that we missed, but in general, very, very strong tablet presence. Positouch has an application, natively supports tablets in a Windows world, so that part was great and gave them a good footing because some of the other point-of-sale companies that are major out there, you had to write another client, so Positouch was able to use the existing technology and have it be the same and seamless work from a larger tablet to a full point-of-sale terminal all the way down to a small 6 or 7-inch tablet, or even a 4.3-inch tablet. So.
Right. Yep. And then HME wireless. This was really interesting, Jeremy, because we were kind of looking for this one.
Yeah, and I know that this HME and long-range systems, we missed long-range systems on the slide, but really the solution is very, very similar. It's really geared for a fast casual restaurant environment where you go up to the counter, order your food, and then turn around and walk back to your table, and you bring this pager with you, and instead of the pager buzzing and then making you come back up to the counter for your food, what it does is it has an RFID tag on your table itself, and so the food runner knows where to bring your food. So you don't see this guy wandering around, and all of you guys have been to a fast casual restaurant that have a table tent, and you see the guy running around with your food, and you're like, no, come over this way, or I'm out on the patio, and they never come out to the patio to deliver the food, and so your food gets cold, and so it was a really, really cool solution that HME came up with that allows the food runners to be more efficient, better table turns, less labor used. Overall, great solution. Really kind of works best in that fast casual or where the food is getting delivered to your table environment because it does use the table map that's in the kitchen. They've got a full table map solution that says, oh, these people are sitting at table 16 and you can walk the food out to table 16.
Yeah, it eliminates that 50-50 chance that runner is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have a split dining room or a patio, it's a great opportunity for them to make the quality of service for your guests as well as your team members that much better.
Right. And then Punch, man, this one I thought was probably, in my opinion, the most exciting thing that we saw out there.
Yeah, again, we've talked for a while about loyalty and what it does. We brought Paytronics on the show a while back, and they have a phenomenal solution. But Punch kind of took a little bit of a different angle. They go after that loyalty solution, but they kind of started in the mobile space rather than starting traditional. They're a little bit younger company than Paytronics. Paytronics started where it was, kind of a card-based solution. These guys started in the environment where it's 100% mobile, and you use kind of your phone as the way to deliver that guest experience back to the restaurant or let them know. But they really brand themselves as a mobile CRM, and if any of you guys read any of the trade magazines or any kind of business rules, CRM is kind of the hub of your communication with your customers, and so that's the way they branded it. And I think it's a great option if Paytronics is either not able to deliver the solution that you want, and I really have to thank another vendor that we met at the show for turning us on to these guys. Nate Riggs had said, had been talking about these guys for a while and how good their solution is, and so he sent us over their way, and we went and talked with them, and they had just a really good idea and really good ideas about how to communicate with your guests, how to get more foot traffic in the door, all through using mobile and what you're doing with it.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch these guys over the coming months and years.
Yeah, and they really have targeted, they kind of have targeted that same market space. I mean, where they've made a lot of their traction is in that fast casual space. And so, again, good solution. And if you're interested in loyalty, it's something that's worth the conversation.
Agreed. The other one was Swipely. This one, we'll have further meetings with them coming up here in the next week or so. But Swipely is a great product. Again, delivering marketing insights and data.
Yeah, again, as we've talked about multiple times, the whole idea of big data and understanding who's where, what is it that they're doing. These guys are really trying to drive additional traffic into your restaurants, but also understanding what's working and what's not working as far as your menu mix for your specific guests. They've done a lot of analytics based on, if Gary is eating at lunch, typically he's not eating with his family, and so they know based on time and date what he's consuming as a guest versus eating at night. He might be, he's eating with his boys and with his wife, and so the traffic and the offers that are relevant to him during times of day are going to be different. And so they've taken kind of that data analytics approach to using who the guest is, the time, the date, to be able to offer relevant information back to the consumer, as well as to understand what you could or should change about your menu mix to drive better business decisions.
No, absolutely. It's a transactional snapshot to the customer.
Yep.
Individually.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Great solution out there. They've been around for a while, and I know we'll be talking with them to figure out what it might look like later for us to whether partner with them, have them come on the show and talk to you guys, or something along those lines.
No, absolutely. And then AirWatch. This one was this becomes more and more prevalent every day as everybody's aware of PCI and security. Now people are wanting mobility, so that speaks to wireless. And so we popped in and had a chat with these folks.
Yeah, AirWatch as a solution is a mobility management solution. As more and more people are getting to tablets and handhelds and all of these different thoughts on bringing stuff to the guest, bringing technology to the guest, what AirWatch does is they'll manage your inventory if you're large enough. They'll manage your wireless. They'll manage the transactions, the transactions of managing the tablets. If you're a 15-store chain, you've got 150 tablets out there. These guys will stock and make sure that your stuff's up and working, make sure that it's hardened so that nobody's hacking into it, make sure that nobody, they told a funny story in the booth of oh no, we've got our wireless all locked down, only to find out that when they did their trial in the customer's area, people were sitting in the middle of the dining room watching inappropriate movies in the middle of their dining room, and it's like, you obviously don't want that as a brand, especially as a brand, unless that's your brand motto. But I wouldn't guess that's many people out there. And so these guys will do both the hardware, the software, the logging, the tracking, the lockdown, all of those different pieces for mobile. And it's a great solution out there. They're one of the best out in the industry, and I think it's something that they're only continuing to grow as more and more people get to a mobile platform.
No, absolutely. Quite probably the reason VMware bought them.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, they did get bought by VMware. We met them in NRF in January, and within a couple of weeks of that, they got bought, and so now it's interesting to see what's changed even from January to May. But I think more than anything, they've just continued to get stronger in the space.
Yeah. And then Verifone. This is everybody's. It's on the tip of everybody's tongue. It's on the top of everybody's mind. EMV is coming, and so we've had a pretty lengthy conversation with Verifone, Jer.
Yeah, I mean, there's really, in my mind, there's really two main players in the EMV mobile payment space. And I say mobile payment, that are mobile payment devices space. There's a lot of smaller players, but it's really Verifone and Ingenico are the two players that are out there. But from spending time in the Verifone booth, it seems like they, at least from my assessment in talking with them and then previously talking with Ingenico at another trade show, they just seem to be a half a step ahead as far as their thoughts, as far as where they're going to market with the target breach and the Neiman Marcus and all of that stuff, as well as the impending deadline of EMV that's coming up next year where the liability will shift in October of 2015. EMV is something that everybody is asking about, everybody's talking about, and so I believe we posted an article up on the blog recently, and if I haven't, it'll be going out soon. So if you want to learn more about EMV and what it is, but really CBS as an organization and all point-of-sale providers are either going to have to partner with an EMV provider, or they're going to have to partner with an EMV provider for the physical devices, or they'll have to build it themselves into their own hardware, right. Which it's probably cheaper to partner with somebody like a Verifone or Ingenico, but really, like I said, Verifone just had a step ahead. They were actually kind of, one of the things that they talked about, one of the presentations they went through with us, was rather than in a current EMV scenario, you have to certify every step. You have to certify the point of sale, you have to certify the point of sale server, you have to certify the bank, you have to certify the cards. There's like 8 different steps that you have to do. What Verifone has tried to do is work with the point of sale providers to get outside of that certification, and they certify directly with the banks and then backfill your point of sale with an acceptance or a decline on that transaction, rather than having to certify, so many different steps during the processor, because you get the processor, the acquirer, all of those different steps. And so they're trying to kind of, that's where I say they're one step ahead, is they've kind of taken a more holistic approach and said, you know what, there's thousands of point of sale solutions out there, for retail to grocery to hospitality. And so instead of that, we're going to go make relationships direct with the bank and keep it kind of above board, and then we'll just pass through a token back to the point of sale saying, yes, this transaction was approved, or no, it wasn't. And so it'll remain to be seen whether that strategy will work, but I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them and see where they're going as it relates to Positouch as well as to order entry.
Yeah, their roadmap was well thought out. It was succinct, and it made perfect sense, their approach to market. And I know from talking to the gentleman in the booth that they're a little bit more on the cost side than Ingenico, but quite frankly, you're paying for something that's of value.
Yeah.
And it's tied to their intellectual property and their approach to market, which is very, very strong.
Yeah.
And then DT Research, we got to chat with these guys at length, not only about digital signage, but the rest of these items, plus their tablets.
Yeah, I mean, we've been a partner with DC Research for a long time, with them for a long time on their tablet solutions. And again, if you go back and watch the webinar that we did on the tablets, you can see some of their products. But one of the things that they've come to market with for a while now, and I think they've partnered with some different companies out there, is they have a digital signage, digital menu board solution out there. And if you're in a place where you need to show, I shouldn't say if you're in a place, if your brand is okay with the idea of digital signage and or digital menu boards, you need to be looking into it. The cost is less. The initial cost is a little bit higher than doing static menu boards, but the ability to change on the fly, the ability to market, the ability to do full motion video as well as text changing. I mean, you see it in all of the large players, and you go into McDonald's, you go into Carl's Jr., you go into Hardee's, you go into these different players. They're either working on digital signage, digital menu boards, or they already have it in there. And it's definitely something that'll be coming down the pike. I mean, some of our larger customers in Cheesecake Factory and BJ's have also put some digital signage in behind their takeout counters. They're not doing it everywhere. They're not doing, full wall boards like you might see in Vegas, but they are all considering, what can I do to drive customer engagement, get them to, while they're sitting around waiting for their table, while they're sitting around and in the dining room waiting for their check to show up, to flash dessert signs in front of them. Or if you're at a counter, how do I get that additional upsell to the customer? And so these guys have done a great job both on the hardware and on a software level to bring the solution to market, and We're going to be doing our first pilot with them shortly, but I don't talk about them simply because we're doing a pilot and we partner with them, but because they have a great solution out there. We did some research. We did quite a bit of research before we chose to partner with them for their digital signage, digital menu board, and thought that they were the best partner out there for our customers' needs and wants.
No, absolutely. And at this point, it's still relatively new to market, but with the prices dropping on the hardware and it becoming manageable or more easily managed software solution in the cloud, we see adoption coming more and more in the next handful of months.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
And then, Jeremy, in your opinion, what was the best part of the show?
Well, besides hanging out with you and Ryan, probably just the energy of the show. Gary talked about the fact that trade shows are coming back. The amount of energy that was in the room was palpable. I mean, you could feel it. You could feel it when you walked into the room. There was a buzz about the show that I haven't seen in large format trade shows in a long time. Probably 7 or 8 years since I've seen kind of that. And so there's a lot of new technology, in food service stuff, the automatic sushi makers and these crazy things that I'm like, why do people even need this stuff? But for restaurateurs, it's stuff that you can reduce some costs. We've talked about food costs and labor costs being your largest costs within the restaurant. So there was some cool stuff there. The trade show is enormous. If you haven't been and you're a restaurateur, it's worth a trip in mid-May or I guess early May, mid-May into Chicago. Even if you just go for a day or two, I would tell you that if you're going to walk just the trade show floor, you should probably give yourself at least one full day, if not 2 days, to go walk around and go see, because there's just a lot of vendors. There's a lot of stuff to see.
Absolutely.
I'll say, what would you say is the best part for you, Gary?
You know what? It's solely focused on hospitality, a little different than NRF from that standpoint. I'm with you on the energy. It is a plethora of information. It's the type of show, and I'll kind of segue this into the worst part and then recommendations for first-timers, is taking the approach of understanding who's exhibiting and having a game plan so you can capture everything. But to answer your question, the best part of the show was the amount of energy and seeing that this trade show is a little bit on the upswing as far as coming back. Ryan, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, one of the best things that I saw about the show, it was actually my first time at the show, and it was really exciting for me. I hung out a lot in the technology space, and it was really exciting to see all of these young, very innovative companies coming out. The people that were working the booths were just super energetic, and they were actually going out and trying to draw you into their booth. They were really excited about what they had to offer. But that also kind of segues into what I found as a difficult part of the show, because what you have is a lot of these really cool, a lot of innovative technology out there that do amazing things, but they don't really talk to one another. So you have all of these different options, and then on an implementation standpoint, it could become really hairy really quickly if you were to go in and say, I want 8 of these different things. Some work together, some don't, but at the end of the day, you still have 8 different solutions. But I think they're on the right track. I really think that it's, some of the innovations out there is just really on point.
Yeah, the big challenge is always, will these folks make it through the first 1 to 3 years? Just the same as any startup restaurant faces. Some of these are new and startup businesses, so it's always fun to see their ideas and share in their energy. The question becomes, will they make it to the next show?
Mm-hmm. And can they hit that early adopter phase to be able to get some traction?
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people look-y-loo and let's see if you're here next year. Let's see if you're here the following year, and then if you are, they may take you up on it. So
yeah, that would be my approach, quite frankly. And then the worst part of the show.
I think we've kind of talked about it. It's great, but it is definitely information overload, and the transportation into the show is horrible. Mm-hmm. There's no mass transit into the show, and so you're either walking from downtown, which is a 4-mile walk, or you're taking a taxi, or you're taking a bus in and having to wait at these different bus stops to get in. That we actually learned the second day that there was a larger bus that was kind of just for the trade show that was a better mechanism to get in. But we probably spent, to go 4 miles, we probably spent 45 minutes sitting in a cab, going through lights in downtown Chicago trying to get into the show. So to me, that was probably something that could be worked on, is figuring out the ways to get people in and out of the show more efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if they'll ever pull that off. I guess what I would segue this into is my recommendation, or my personal recommendation, would be Chicago would be a show that I would visit every 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Every other year, every third year would be, in my opinion, enough to stay abreast of the new stuff that's coming down the pike. I probably, if I was attending MureTech or MUFSO or some of the other technology-based shows, I might not go to NRA. And quite frankly, I think the other that I'd add to that is I might interchange NRF and NRA in some form or fashion, because NRF is going to give you truly the latest, greatest that's coming down the pike. We had mentioned before that hospitality is a little bit on the tail end of technology adoption tied to retail. And so I'd be considering NRF versus NRA. And then on an annual basis, the MureTechs and the MUFSOs and shows at that level. Your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And I think it's definitely a show worth attending. But I agree that going every single year, unless you have some need to be in Chicago and hang out and go to Gibson Steakhouse or hit the Cubs game.
All of those things worthy of a trip to Chicago, in my opinion. Having said that, we're all super duper busy, and so like I said, it'd be an every couple years thing, in my opinion, for folks. So, and then what would we recommend for a first time attendee to next year's show?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it. If you're a technology person, download the app, because it does give you the ability to go kind of find what you're looking for, whether it's searching for topics, whether those topics are food service related or technology related. So I definitely would suggest downloading the app. Make a game plan, and they do have it on the app that you can say, I know I want to hit these 6 vendors, as you've done the research prior to, and it'll give you a floor map and kind of tell you what the best approach is to go hit those people. So that would definitely be something I would say. The other thing is to figure out your transportation and lodging early. The show fills up, and unfortunately I had to book a very expensive room the first night of the show because I had missed on my reservation, and so it gets expensive staying there if you don't book early. So I would strongly suggest, if you're planning on going, go book early, and schedule yourself to go to the places you want to see, because unfortunately if you just wander, you probably will either miss what you were looking for because of so much information, and or you won't get through it all, and you'll be disappointed that you didn't hit 1 or 2 of the people that you wanted to see.
Absolutely. I would take the exhibitor list and the trade show floor layout, and I would break it into categories of what I really must see when I'm out there, and it would either be tied to your back of the house, being your kitchen and kitchen automation and anything that goes into the F&E of your restaurant, versus technology. And I'd start with a couple different categories and break it down into what you really got to see while you're out there. Because to Jeremy's point, if you did just anticipate going to the show and just walking it without a plan, you won't make it through the whole show. And I guess the only other thing that I would add to that is the last day is the slowest day. It's open Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. A whole bunch
Saturday, actually. I think it opens Saturday afternoon, but yeah.
Okay. I'll super busy on the first couple days, and then Tuesday it's really slows down significantly. There's an advantage to that. It gives you more time to talk with vendors, and quite frankly, they're a little bit pooped out, so you're getting less of the sales spiel, and you can dig down and ask some good relevant questions of these folks without interruption. on the final day.
Or without them being distracted because they got 6 other people standing outside their booth waiting to talk to them, and they want to get you in and out. And oh, we'll talk to you later. Here's a business card. Call me next week.
And your badge, type thing. So, and then let's open it up to questions. Anybody have anything that out there that came to mind as we were running through the stuff that we looked at? As I'm sharing that, also want to let you guys know that NRN released a similar article here this morning that broke down into what they saw as some of the highlights of the show, and then also HT did,
Hospitality Technology
released an article, some of them in alignment with what we're prescribing to you or proclaiming to you, but good info nonetheless.
We've got a couple questions coming in. So one of the questions is, will this information be available after the show? It definitely will. There'll be a follow-up email coming out that you can download the presentation via PDF, and you can also check it out on our YouTube channel after the show is being recorded. So you'll be able to watch it again, share it with whoever you think may find some value in it. Another question that came through, it's kind of talking about the EMV. What is that as opposed to today's credit card swipe, and how is that going to affect the tablet space, and what's that going to look like?
Got ya. So EMV, and again, I go into a lot more detail in the article that I wrote that you guys can find up at restauranttechnologyguys.com. But EMV is kind of the whole chip and pin, chip and signature idea. You know, if you were to just say overall what EMV is, most people have heard of chip and signature or chip and pin. It's been widely adopted in Europe, and it is something that they're using. There's a liability shift in October of 2015. That liability shift that's happening in October 2015 is what's going to affect restaurant space and the retail space. Unless there's a stay of execution and it gets moved out, right now the liability shift is there. That all being said, the brands are going to need to accept chip and pin or chip and signature cards, and they still haven't decided 100% on the card brands which one they're going to use, either chip and signature or chip and pin. And the way that they do it in Europe, having traveled to the UK last Christmas, is they bring a device to your table that's Wi-Fi enabled, and they have it non-integrated payments to your point of sale. Where we talked a little bit about the Verifone solution is it would be an integrated payment solution into your point of sale eventually, but they'll bring a handheld device to you if it's a restaurant that is table service. If it's a counter service place, no different than any other retailer, Target, Walmart, they're going to have a device that's sitting there in front of you, and you're going to interact with that device just like you do with a regular credit card now at McDonald's or any place. You put your card in, and instead of you putting your card in through a swipe and having the information be on the magnetic swipe, you're going to slide the card into a slot, and it's going to read that chip, and that chip is going to be talking back to your bank real time. So I don't know if hopefully that answers the question that was out there. And how is it going to affect the tablet space? Again, depending upon what your restaurant functions like, I think it's going to. There are some tablet manufacturers that are even putting the EMV reader onto the back of the tablet, and so remains to be seen how that'll integrate and how that'll work. But I think that at some point we'll see the point of sale tablet that goes to your table for guests to be or for staff to be able to order is going to potentially have an EMV reader somewhere on it that, you know, they'll be taking your order, and then you'll go to take payment, they'll just turn around and you'll swipe it in and then put in your PIN number or whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
The biggest question at this point is, are the banks going to adopt and execute quickly?
Yep. Yeah, very much so.
Credit cards for them to send out and replace.
Yeah.
That they're probably not super pleased with.
Yeah, well, it's expensive, and again, you'll see that in that article if you go back and read it.
Nice.
And finally, we just had one more question come in, and it kind of asks the question about these new softwares integrating to other players in the space. And basically, upon talking with these different technologies, what we found is a lot of them are writing an open API, something that's going to be really easy to integrate into other things and into other programs and other point of sale. So, you know, they're trying to knock out all the biggest point-of-sale systems first or want to get out there, get some adoption. Like we said, there's a small chance that they may not even make it to next year, so they're trying to play with the biggest dogs first, and it'll be out there. So just wanted to thank you guys for joining us today.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. We tried to cram in as much content as we possibly can. I know we ran over our regular time frame, but we had so much content to share with you guys, we thought it worthy to run over. Please reach out. You can connect with Jeremy, myself, and Ryan either telephonically or electronically, and we'll let you guys know about our next upcoming webinar. Thanks for joining us today.
Have a great day, guys.